Welcome to Abode With Afta, the podcast where we step inside real homes and uncover the stories behind the renovations. I'm your host and interior designer Ashley, and I'm speaking with homeowners and industry experts about what it really takes to transform a house. Hi and welcome back to the Abode With Afta podcast. This is episode 7 and we are joined today with an industry expert. So before we get into it, please let us know if you are enjoying the podcast so far by liking and subscribing to our YouTube and Spotify channels. We would really love your feedback on it so that we can continue to bring you these great episodes. So today I'm joined with Jamie Gemmill from We Love Your Projects. So We Love Your Projects is a Glasgow company carrying out refurbishments and renovations across Glasgow area. So why don't you get into it and explain a bit more about what you do and your role in the company?
Yep, so thanks very much for inviting me along to do this. It's the first one I've done, so quite excited about it. So yeah, We Love Your Projects is like a home improvements company, specialising kitchens, bathrooms, full renovations, rewires, boilers. To be honest, it's anything to do with work getting done in your house. We have got over 15 employed staff. All the tradesmen are like specialists in their particular trade. Mm-hmm. One way I always explain it is, but it's not like we'll come in and do your bathroom and one guy shows up with a big bag of tools. We've got individual trades like electricians, plumbers, gas engineers and joiners. So we are very much customer focused and we seem to be pretty popular. We're doing not bad just now. That's
good. So the reason I obviously asked Jamie to come on today is because we've worked together on projects already, so I know you on a personal level. Yep. And I know some of the projects that we kind of get into together, but what kind of stuff are you working on just now?
So just now we've got a couple of kitchens going on, we've got a couple of bathrooms coming to an end as well. We do boiler maintenance and stuff like that, and boiler installations and all types of electrical work. So we've always got a lot of that sort of smaller stuff on the go, but then we've got our sort of bigger projects. We've got a job down in Helensburgh just getting finished off today actually, where we were putting in a WC in a bedroom, taking down a structural wall and stuff like that. So we've got tons of work going on at the minute, mm-hmm. and we've got a lot of good jobs booked in for the sort of summer and beyond.
Amazing. So, like, what I know from projects is that you are quite a big company, and like, there's obviously a lot of one teams. I want to say we guys, but you know what I mean. Out there. So, but what makes like clients and homeowners, approach you? Do you think, as opposed to the kind of 1 to 3 man bands doing restoration?
Yep. So one of the biggest things for me is the communication. Mm-hmm. Now, I'm always busy, you know me. I'm always out on site and just running about, just trying to make sure everything's moving the way it should be. The guys are always busy out on site. Like, there's hardly any ever downtime here. So one thing we rely heavily on is the girls in the office. Mm-hmm. So they're sort of briefed on all the jobs. They know they've got the schedules in front of them. They know who is going where and what they're doing, and they really try and deal with the customers, anybody we're doing jobs for, from sort of start to finish. Whereas I'm sort of the middleman. I'll go out and do the survey, the boys will go and do the jobs, and then everything else in between is really down to the girls in the office. Mm-hmm. So it just means if anything happens to me, or I'm busy, or one of the kids are sick, you can always phone up and speak to someone. If they don't know the answer right there and then, they'll get the answer for you.
Yeah, that's really a valid point, because obviously I'm at a point in my business now where I'm trying to be like, how can I bring people in? Because I'm technically on the tools, you would say, as the designer. But my time's now been taken up with the communication and admin, so I'm trying to get back to what I want to do as well.
No, definitely, and it's obviously great for you and productivity, do you know what I mean, and being able to do something that you love as well. But it's about finding the right people that are going to do what you really want them to do, and that's what I've tried to get, and it's took years to try and get the good folk in the business that's going to be passionate about it as well.
Yeah. So, like, I know from our experience, usually, it's you that brings a bit of work to me.
So that's true.
You're too busy, so I can't give it back. But usually the case is that the clients, the homeowners, they approach you, they think, right, we want work done, we're going to phone a contractor, they get in contact with you, you go out, but then they don't know what they want. Is that really a common problem? And do you think that homeowners just, when they want something done, they just phone a builder before actually thinking about what they want?
So I think there's maybe two different types. Some folk know exactly what they want. They know what layout. See if it's a pretty standard bathroom, there's not much change to happen. They know what tiles, they know what shower and stuff like that they want. Then that's completely fine. That's something I can take control of. Other folk that are needing a little bit of help, they've got tons of ideas, just don't know how to get them down. I'm quite good at designing and coming up with ideas as well, but I know where my limitations are, and that's how I always ask you to come and help us out. But like the feedback we've had between the customers, if you're passing them, I'm passing them, it's been great. And some folk, as soon as I meet them, I know that we're going to need to get you involved, and I mention that straight away to them. Yeah,
I suppose a certain type of project, it's when they're, undecided. I think what I find is when, because I always ask them, like, do you have a Pinterest board and things, which I'm guessing you do as well.
Yep.
But sometimes they show you something that looks nothing like their house, it maybe has high ceilings, big windows, and they don't have that. And they can't replicate in their head. Like, yeah, but why is it not working?
No,
and there's a dish join there.
Aye, definitely. And then there was one, like, looking at the bathroom we've done, it's almost nearly finished now in the West End. We were weeks away from starting the job, and we couldn't nail down the sort of fine details. And then I just knew if I started, it was just going to end up a nightmare for both us and the customer. And luckily, they accepted your proposal to come in and do it, because it's made life so much easier, and I'm now comfortable
actually installing
it and knowing that it's going to be perfect for them when we finish it.
The thing with that one as well was, see, because they are, a couple, sometimes when you've got like the man and the woman and they have different ideas in their head and they can't communicate it together, so having the kind of design process explained to them, and then they've got that visual to see, and then they both know what's happening, rather than when you've got two minds, and then the builder's head and then the designer's head, and there's just a lot of people with different ideas.
No, definitely. So I think maybe to answer your question, some folk know exactly what they want and what they want to do, which is fine. I can bring some creative ideas to it as well, but then some folk are definitely needing that wee push in the right direction and to bring everything together.
Yeah. And it works both ways as well, because obviously if I've been brought in, there's still a time where I need to come back to you and be like, can we actually do this? Is it feasible? Is it going to be in budget? And because I'm good at designing, but I don't know how things, I picked up a bit about how things get installed, but it's not my expertise.
Yep.
And that's where you come in to be like, right, we can do this, or that's not going to work. And it's, a bouncing act with that.
No, definitely. And I think you touched on like our sort of personal relationship. I think it's good to have that as well, because we can just pick up the phone and chat. It's not too formal. Do you know what I mean? It's quite relaxed. So it's good that we can bounce ideas off each other. Yeah,
spelling emails, because that's happening.
No, definitely.
So have you ever been asked to install something that was maybe out with what you'd usually do, and how did that process go for you?
I'm not sure, to be honest with you. There's
something quickie or something new that you had to improvise on site?
So maybe going back to that bathroom again, there was some changes to it from the original, and then there was like some lime washed paint that's to be installed.
I expect that.
I know, and we've never done it before. I've never been involved in that. So, but again, I had to reach out to the painters to sort of give me a bit of advice, right, what prep do we need to do for the walls and stuff like that as well. I'll probably be able to think of a lot of quirky things that we have installed, but I can't off the top of my head now.
Have you ever had a project that didn't quite go to plan? Any upsets on site?
Yep. So
what's the dot?
There's definitely been a few. Do you know what I mean? It's just the nature of the beast. I always think, or what's the saying? Always don't judge me on the mistake, judge me how I fix it type thing. So I'm a big believer in that. Things don't always go to plan with renovations. even just simple bathrooms, kitchens, things just can go wrong. It doesn't matter how much time and effort we put in to try and make sure everything goes smoothly. Some things can go wrong. There was a job that came to mind when I'm thinking about this is a customer reached out to should their kitchen done by someone that was not fitted or not up to her standards. So I went out, I seen it, I says, listen, we can easily rectify this. We'll do this, that and the next thing. So we went in, stripped it out, put it all back together, and I hope he doesn't mind me saying this. Mark was putting up the last shelf on a newly fitted kitchen and drilled through a pipe, and there was like water squirting out the wall. And like, I can laugh at it now, but and so can Mark.
Funny at the time.
Aye, so can Mark. So he phoned me, Jamie, I've went through a pipe. He phoned the plumber as well, I've went through a pipe. So Mark had to stand with his finger sort of over the pipe for ages while he waited on Chris, the heating engineer, coming out to turn the water off. And they repaired the pipe, and then we put everything back together. Now, don't get us wrong, there was some costs associated with that, which we obviously swallowed. It was our mistake. But I always want to try and do the right thing. If we do make mistakes, we do the right thing to rectify it instead of just like, walking away from it type thing.
I like, I've made mistakes on jobs as well, and then you don't know till they come up. And one of the best pieces of advice that I got from that, because I kind of lean on my network and be like, right, how do I deal with this? And blah. And the best piece of advice I got was, I'd love to tell you to be okay, but when you go into your next job, you'll get another mistake, but you won't do the same one twice.
Aye, but that's very true. And there's plenty of mistakes that I've made, the boys have made together, like collectively, but we all make mistakes every day. And someday, I can't remember who told me this, but they encouraged me to make mistakes.
Right.
So you learn,
faster
and you get better.
Yeah.
So that I've said that at a couple of team meetings as well. Like, I encourage everybody to go out and make mistakes, not actively trying out.
Not ones that cost money.
No, ideally not. No, but they normally do.
Yeah, I suppose that's when it comes back to you having like an in-house team, because like, for instance, with that project, and they had to phone the plumber, like if that was kind of outsourced, like obviously you can work with subbies as well, but then let's say they couldn't get to you for, you know, a full day or two, and it was Mark going to stand there with his thumb over the pipe for that long, you know?
I know, I doubt it, and that is the beauty of having the team in-house, and I think that's why I've structured it the way I have, because we do have that support, like electricians and heating engineers, plumbers, joiners on standby, really, if you think about it, because if something like that happens, need to drop what they're doing and go and fix it. So it's good, and all the boys want to help each other out as well. Do you know what I mean? If their mate's drilled through a pipe, I'm going to go and help him out, type thing as well. So it works well. Yeah.
Do you find that, like, because your team's on site, when things do happen, like you're the one that they phone, or do they try and fix it, or does it all come to you?
So I think in the past it all came to me. Mark, who I mentioned, took a bit of that strain off me, to be honest with you, which is really good. But the boys that we've got just now, and I just keep saying boys because we've got no girls yet, but that might be the plan going forward, if the right candidate comes up, by the way. But all the guys on site have got a great relationship with one another. I've completely lost my line of thought.
That's
there.
Right.
I forgot the question.
So what's like, we'll touch back on, because you are a bigger company. So what's like a process for a person, and how, like a homeowner, and how do they reach out and work with you? Like, what makes your processes different?
Yep. So what makes us different is, as soon as you sort of inquire, whether it's phone call, email, maybe clicked on an ad or something like that, we'll get back to you like within 48 hours.
Right, okay.
Always send like an email and a text straight away. If it's nights or weekends, that always happens. And then we phone you like the next working day. So we do that, and then you're kept up to date sort of every step of the way. So we we find that get a wee bit more information from you to see what you're looking to have done. We'll maybe give you some estimated costs based on what you've told us, so you know sort of maybe what to expect before I come out. We'll book a survey in for you. You'll receive email confirmations. You'll get an email just with a wee bit about the business. I'll come out to see you, hopefully nice and friendly and bubbly. Give you some honest advice and feedback, and if I've got any issues or any concerns, then I'll raise them with you. Like, there's no like hidden agendas, or there's just nothing. I'll just say it for how it is. That's
something I've learned probably through experience as well. When you're going out to site, it's better to be honest with people, like, because even, you know, folk are like, I want this, and if it's not realistic, you kind of just need to say it at the time.
Aye, definitely.
Rather than saying yes, because that's definitely came back to bite me in the foot.
I've done that before as well.
And, you know, after that, you're like, why did I say that could happen and it can't?
No, definitely. And one thing that I always do, and this is good for that as well, is when, after the survey, I've spent a few days preparing the quote or whatever, I always phone the customer before I send the quote, because I like to highlight anything that's came to my mind. Like, if there is any wee concerns or that something isn't included in the quote or it is included, I like to just run through that as well.
Yeah, that is quite interesting, because obviously you've got the girls in the office, and I take it do they do the quotes, or is it?
So they can do some of the quotes. The bigger jobs and the surveys that I'm going out to see, I generally like to do them.
Yeah.
And I think just that wee sort of personal touch as well. And because I do play a vital role in the business, then I like to sort of have that wee bit of control over it, and I can see what we're doing, and because I've met the customer as well, I've got a wee feel for them, and I know sort of what they're looking for, type thing.
Yeah, I get that. Like with me bringing in a VA recently, we spoke about what could I give her, but the quoting part, I feel like I can't, because they're very, like, it's me going into people's homes, and I spend a bit of time on the proposal, because like, I'm a designer, I'm not just going to send you a black and white quote, you know. Like, it needs to match the brand and what we're doing.
100%.
So that's something that I'm not ready, like, I can't really pass on yet. And the quote, like, people's homes are complex and they're different sizes, they want different things, so it's not really just like a copy and paste, like, oh, you want that, maybe like with your boiler services and things can be done like that, but
there's a certain amount of it.
The renovation side, it's like, you can't do that.
No, they're completely individual, and like individual to the home, but to the person as well, to the budget. There's so many variables, but I always think that people buy from people as well, so it's good if you're going out to do the quote, you're giving them a phone before you send it, and you're sort of heading up the job. Obviously, in your case, if I'm sort of heading up the job and making sure that everything's sort of getting ticked off the list and progressing nicely, I think it's a nice touch as well.
Yeah. So, like, touching back on some of the projects we've worked on, like the ones you get me into are really cool. Like, it's like, I don't know if this is me being down in Ayrshire, but they're like properties that you just don't even think about, because they're all up in Glasgow in the big city, and I get a nice day out with it as well. So do you have quite a range of, like, because that's like a very kind of niche type of homeowner that's approaching you, which is really great, because you get to work on different stuff. But then do you have, like, not, I don't want to say regular homeowners, but your typical, maybe like new build kind of homes as well?
Definitely. We do like work in a wide range of properties. No two are the same, to be honest, even if they were on the same street. But we do like what I would maybe call standard bathrooms, standard kitchens, and all the way up to some like really cracking big massive jobs, renovations, kitchens and stuff like that. And again, because the way the business is set up and structured, because we do like the boiler maintenance, we do all the boiler servicing and stuff like that as well, all electrical call outs and stuff. These are things that everybody needs to get done annually as well, and I think we're priced pretty fairly in that, so we probably work in every type of person's house in every area.
Do you find that you get some work sometimes through, like, if people get their boiler service done regularly off you, and then that builds up that little bit of trust, and they know who's coming into their home when it comes to
100%. So I think with anything like that, and again with the way the business is set up, like we do some email marketing and stuff like that as well. Obviously we're quite big on Instagram, so the email marketing, if you're in our database, you'll receive email updates, what's happening in the business, any wee offers or exciting things coming up. So generally, if you were getting your boiler serviced, you'll get one of these, but you'll also probably be aware of the other services that we do. And I always believe if you do the small things right, like a boiler service, changing a socket or something like that, then you're in with a chance of getting some more work.
Yeah. Is there any type of projects that you enjoy personally? Like, I'm thinking of some of them, maybe the quirky ones that we've done, like different types of houses, or do you prefer, I don't know, more of a standard?
I think all of them have got their sort of benefits and parts you can enjoy. I really see sort of kitchen, well, any job, to be honest, see if we are on our A game, like from start to finish, everything's went smoothly. Because like what we can do is like, it's magical. Sometimes that's the way I feel it, and I get pure buzzing inside, and I love going out and just speaking to the customers about that. Also quite like going out if something's not went quite right as well, because I love getting feedback now. It's a wee bit awkward at the time. I don't feel as good about it, but it's still an important part of the business. But I don't think I've got a particular favourite thing that we do.
Yeah. So see, for somebody renovating, let's say they're doing like a full downstairs, so that might include like kitchen, maybe a small WC, living room and stuff. What's like, once they've accepted the quote and things, like what's a kind of time frame for them to, maybe like an average time frame, because you can't really like say an exact, but like I know through experience of doing people's projects, the renovation part is really stressful because they've got guys in their house all day, they've not got a working kitchen, so how do you help them through that process from a time frame?
So if like a job that you've just said there, so we'd work out some start dates, see what's going to work best for the customer, depending on the scope of works. Might be best for the first week or two if they maybe go on holiday, which a lot of our customers do when we're working in their houses, where it's really messy, it's quite intrusive, and it can be quite upsetting to see your house in a state of disrepair before it gets better.
Worse, doesn't it?
It does. It gets so much worse, and I always try and be realistic and completely upfront with customers. In fact, one we're starting at the end of June, I met them a couple of days ago, and that's what I said to them. I think they're going to go on holiday for 3 weeks, and it says, but that's great, because for the first 3 weeks, like, there's going to be nothing to see.
Kelvin Grow?
Yes.
Yeah. And their like flat's quite small as well.
So I think they're going to move out for the full process, which makes our life a bit easier. But again, want to manage the expectations that the place isn't going to be great for the first few weeks.
That one, like touching on that one's going to be a challenge, I think, because it's like in the attic. I know. You are going to have to carry everything.
I wasn't going to say too much in case any of the guys watch this, because I've not seen it yet.
Oh, I've seen it. We'll crop that back. So, is there anything that's coming up for you, like to grow your business or get involved in different types of projects? Like, what are you working on right now?
So what am I working on in terms of like what's
like both? Like, what can you share with us?
So after a few issues recently, I've changed how we're sort of how we're keeping jobs on track. One of the things that we find that's been really difficult is slight changes during the process of a job, and we'd no real way of tracking that. It was always maybe the customer said to me, and you know what it's like, if your phone goes, you've not wrote it down somewhere, it can easily get missed. So I've tried to create a system so that as soon as we're told about a wee change or something additional, we add that to a wee list which the full team have got access to, and we can get in and edit. Each customer's got their own individual file as well, with all the drawings like from yourself, architects. We've got wee tick lists, like room by room, or for trade to trade, for exactly what's to be done. And I've actually gave some customers access to that as viewers as well. Maybe they are away on holiday, so they can actually get in and view the progress on their job as well. So that's working quite well. That's one of the biggest changes. It's been a bit of a headache to try and sort of navigate around and make it work for us. But I think we've got it now. We've got a new sort of process in the office as well, from if you accepted any type of job, then this is the process that we follow. Everything's laid out clearly, so that if I'm not there or someone's off sick, like, it doesn't matter when you accept a job or when the job's ongoing, you're going to get the same service all the time.
Yeah, that's like, I do agree with that. And they say, like, also your company's, you know, growing and you've got a lot of staff and a lot of projects on the go at the same time. But what works for you to get to one stage, like, doesn't always work for you to get to the next stage. So that's obviously the kind of what you're going through at the moment.
No, that's it. So that's definitely been the case, because we had a massive sort of wee growth spurt maybe towards the end of last year, and it was just a bit chaotic, if I'm being honest with you. Don't get us wrong, we're trying our best and making sure every job's running and trying to make the processes as smooth as possible, but you need something to break almost before you can go and repair it. And it's the same with things on site as well. Any issues, you need to know what the issue is before you can then go and rectify it.
Yeah, and it's that again, like, the homeowner, keeping the homeowner involved, because at the end of the day it's their house. And they like to know what stage of the process things are at, or being prepared for the next step. Like, once the quote comes in, is there a deposit? Like, how long is it until you wait for, like, install, when a material's getting delivered, kind of things like that.
That's it. So we really want to, the process that we've made now sort of highlights or fixes all of the wee issues that could have been an issue in the past.
So, going on, like, locations that you cover, because you just mentioned Helensburgh. I don't know if that was when we were on or off. And I'd kind of said Glasgow, so do you take things a little further out of reach sometimes? Or
yes and no.
Okay.
I don't know how this makes me sound, but sort of would pick and choose what's going to work.
For the right project.
For the right project, would go anywhere. So we've done some projects further afield, and it can be challenging at times. Actually, there was one up in Aberdeen. I was sort of talking to, I think it was like a property investor, really old property, like tons of work in it, structural work, heating systems, rewires, kitchens, bathrooms, like everything that we specialise in. So it was a great project, but it was just too far away.
Yeah.
Even the guys going to work away, see if something, a bit of snagging, or there's a wee issue on site, it's a Saturday, can't get anybody out.
Like a logistics issue.
Aye. So, and again, this is maybe a bit of my growth as well, where I used to sort of say yes to everything and just want to please everybody, and yes, yes, yes. I've started saying no to some projects as well. Not because I don't think we can't do them, it's just it's not worth the grief for me or the customer as well.
Yeah, and with that as well, like, because you are so busy back here, like, if you think about like, a full, I don't know, it's a squad you would call them, like, a way up, like, trade terms, a squad, and then that's like time away from what you could be helping more people back here as well.
Aye, that's it. So there's a sort of fine line for it. It's just the issues that we did have when we were sort of working away. I was just conscious that the customer wasn't getting our usual best service that we can do here. So I really think, obviously we're based in Hillington now. I normally, or the typical tradesman's thing, is it like an hour to get to your work? So really anywhere we can drive to within an hour, we'll basically cover.
Yeah, not just that, but then I find that like, because I've had jobs come to me as well sometimes before, and they're a bit further out, but like I would still do them because I can do design online, but I'm very honest about the fact, like, I don't know MD like to install it for you though. Not that I do like a design install support, so I'm not like project managing it, but it's to make sure that it's been followed kind of thing, which is obviously something that we can do together. But like I can't recommend a trade for you if you're further afield, because I don't know MD, or even just like I use a certain showroom for marble sourcing, but if you're somewhere else and it's not within that logistics, I can't recommend where to go to as well.
Definitely. On occasions we use some subcontractors for plastering, tiling, painting and stuff like that, so we have the same issue if we're working away with that. But as you mentioned, see, with suppliers, we've got our suppliers that we use, that we know and we trust.
Yeah.
If anything goes wrong, you can almost phone them and say, listen, I really need this fixed, because you're spending some money with them. There's a bit of a relationship built up.
As well.
Aye,
definitely.
definitely.
You're not emailing them, you're calling them and being like, can you help us out?
Aye, exactly. So I suppose all with that's not there if you're working further afield.
So on the projects that we are kind of working on just now, so we have a very interesting one. It's currently in my hands of power, I would say.
I'm frightened about it to see what you can come up with.
So we are doing Gorbals. So obviously all the Gorbals been kind of regenerated. This has been a big thing in Glasgow, and this project came in and it's a really nice, so it's an old fabric work.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
It's got that feel to it with the huge windows.
So it's been an old listed building that's been regenerated and turned into flats and residential, so that's part of the Gorbals regeneration. And it's a top floor flat. So obviously initially the client had reached out to you, and then you've passed over to me. So far in the project, this is kind of probably a new update for you.
Oh God.
We have been taking the direction of like a New York City kind of flat, that urban feel. It's two guys that live in the house, so we've got that kind of bachelor's feel to it. But also we've kind of tapped into that Gorbals history, because I know the client was quite interested. I think that's something that actually drew them to the property, which is something that I kind of dig into. So I'm like, why here? Like, why did you pick this house out of everywhere in Glasgow? So that's something we've touched on so far, and last week we just done the first kind of feedback meeting, so I do that like on Zoom and take them through the presentation. I wouldn't just send it to somebody when it is like a specific kind of brief like this. And that went really well. So in the next couple of weeks we'll be probably back in touch with you to see, like, can this actually be done? I'm sure it will. I do kind of consider it in my mind, but then it comes down to like leaning back on you for sourcing like some of the materials for it. And working out costs as well. And I suppose for me as a designer coming into that, it's like if a client approaches me first, how can I say, right, these are some people that I work with, unless it's a specialist job, I'm like, right, this is the guy for them. But if it's a few, I'm like, right, you can reach out to a few and we'll see how it goes. But when I know that the contractors are like yourselves already involved first, it kind of narrows that down, because I know that when I can, rather than wait until we've got a design, because you can't price something off until you know what somebody wants, and that's the chicken and egg thing.
No, that's it.
But knowing that you're involved means that I can just kind of dip in and out, because we do have that relationship as well. So I'm like, I can probably bring some stuff to you before the final.
Aye, definitely.
Maybe helps it move on a wee bit quicker as well.
100%. And that particular job as well is one of the ones that went out. I can't remember what was on like, sort of my phone to what I was going there to do. I know it was for a survey, and I walked in and it was like, wow, this place is amazing. And then it was talking about some wall coverings. It was a wee bit, I'm unsure.
Maybe this.
Aye, and with radiators, and then that's where it gets above my pay grade a little bit. If you don't know what it is you want and how beautiful that flat is. Last thing I want to do is say to the guy, aye, we can go ahead and we'll do this and we'll do that for you, and then like it's an absolute riot. So with jobs like that, it definitely warrants and deserves someone like yourself to come in and make it perfect. Like, I can do anything you want me to do, but I need someone like you to tell me. Aye.
Yeah, I think with that as well, because obviously when I'd went in, it showed me a couple of things, like kind of like a couple of AI photos and stuff, and he said about the radiators. But like one thing I try and get away from with that is it's all very bitty. Like, might move that one thing to here.
Exactly.
And I'm like, right, we need to think this space as a whole. And going back to, like, obviously we touched on the heritage of the property when I was there. It was more just like prompting questions, and the client was kind of open up about why they wanted to live there. So I'm like, right, let's bring this in.
Aye, cool. And obviously for me to try and put a price to get, like, oh, I might do this, I might do that, it's like they sort of need to know what you want type.
That's
thing,
like probably the biggest thing that you've brought stuff to me, because it's the client just can't quite decide what you want.
And again, I'm not going to put us in that position to go and do something where the job maybe gets dragged out a bit because we don't know what we're doing. Or I wouldn't just go in and start something without having everything nailed to a post.
Have you got any cool projects in the pipeline and the books for the next few months, what he's working on over summer?
So there's the one in Kelvin Hall that we're starting towards the end of June, so that's going to be really exciting. Have you seen the kitchen designs for that yet?
No,
I'll send you them after this. They're really cool. So we're doing like the full property now, which is going to be great. It's an absolute winner, and we've just got a lot of kitchens and bathrooms booked in. I think we're sort of fully booked now until August time, which is great. It's the busiest that we've ever been. I get excited about most projects. That's my problem. I've not got any particular favourites. I just love being involved, and I love just showcasing what we can do.
Yeah. So do you find that, because we spoke about people going on holiday, that's why the summer's maybe busy, because folk are going out?
Potentially.
Do you think that's why they want to book in?
Aye, it could be.
So what, like with your smaller services, like your boilers and stuff, how do you manage like the big renovations and keeping that on track as well, so that, because clients, like homeowners, might listen to this and they don't need the full thing yet, but they just want the smaller service?
Aye, so it works very similar, just on like a smaller scale. If you're looking for phone up for a boiler service, you get the same service.
So just up to what in there, I had a piece of advice once, and it was like, treat every client like your David Beckham client.
Aye.
And give them all the same
100%. And I just had this conversation yesterday as well, and that's going back to, if we like the way the business is set up, you can approach us for a boiler service, or they were really good, or they do kitchens, or I want a new kitchen as well, from a boiler service. So it's really good that way. So you need to treat every job the exact same. With the boiler services, you still get all the email confirmations and reminders and stuff like that. And there's obviously like no deposit, because it's quite a small cost job. And you get your certificates sent over to you, like everything's above, like the exact same way, by the book. Well. And it's just the exact same way we would do a renovation, obviously on a quicker turnaround on a smaller scale. Amazing.
Well, I'm looking forward to seeing some of these projects actually be installed this year. Hopefully we get this urban flat. Although when it comes to design, I don't want to rush it either, because you want to make sure the client's on board with everything. And I don't know if I make the contractor's life easier or harder, but I hope that I give you something nicer maybe to install.
See, I wouldn't say you make it easier, or, well, maybe do make it harder. I'll not lie about that, but again, there's no point in doing it if it's not what the customer wants. That's where you come in, and we can make it happen as long as we know what we're doing. And we're all for it. But you probably do make your life just that little bit harder.
I think though the homeowners, like they're getting me in because they want the details. So we try and give them stuff. For getting us in as well, it's obviously a little extra expense to them. But it means that they care about their home and they care about the vision. So we're just transferring what's in their mind onto paper. But, you know, if we're doing... it's maybe like a self-worth thing in the business. You want to give them something a wee bit better than what they actually had in their head as well.
No, definitely.
And then, you know, that comes back to making sure that there's a contractor like yourselves who can actually do it.
Yep.
Because I've got I say as well, like, not every trade is right to work with a designer, because you need to care about the details as much as... you know, if you're in and out trying to get the day rate, then it's not going to work.
No.
Because you will need to make an extra alcove, but you will need to do this.
Yep.
And put an extra light in somewhere. So there's loads more details to it. But yeah, we'll definitely keep everybody up to date on socials of these upcoming projects. I think we're going to maybe try and get some social days in there, because it's good to show how we relate to each other.
100%. We'll need to, because there's 2 or 3 now that will be sitting, or definitely after the summer everything will be ready, so we definitely need to get something done. Perfect.
I'll make sure not book any holidays for sure.
Aye, 100%.
Amazing. Well, it was so great to catch up with you today.
Thank you very much.
And thanks again to our sponsor, the Garage Conversion Company, for bringing this podcast to you. We will see you again next Wednesday for another solo episode with myself. See you in the next one.